Yeah,
So,
can you guys? Right.
Okay, well, let me record.
okay.
You guys can see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Right.
Right. Very good.
This is the quiz for lesson 2. And
Are we supposed to start this with prayer?
Yeah, we should do that.
I think so. I know I need all the help I can get. How about you want me to
it-
start it off, guys?
and I'll pause the recording during the prayer because I don't think we're supposed to record that. So
All right. Hey, let us know when you got it recording again.
we're going.
Okay.
right. Are you ready, guys?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna take the quiz. Story quiz.
Should we all be having our quiz thing open at the same time or just do that on our own afterwards?
I think we can do them all at the same time. Did anybody have any questions on the study preparation?
I did.
Okay.
One thing I didn't know was what is the response variable?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a difficult one. I did eventually find it. Let me see if I can
Okay, I have here the lesson.
forgot what it was now.
Yeah, it's kind of it was difficult. It really didn't spell it out very well in the lesson. I had to. It took me a while to find it, but essentially, it's the it's the variable that changes. Like, what are we studying? Like in on the last question on that thing where it talks about 224 participants with the skin irritation. So the response variable is the skin irritation. That's what we're measuring for change. And the one about the sleepies, the response variable is the hours of sleep that they get. So I didn't find it really spelled out very well in the lessons. I had to go to other sources to try and figure that out.
Yeah, I got that it's the variable that changes or responds to the treatment. You know, how things responded to the population responded to the treatment.
Yeah, that's great explanation of it.
Did it work or did it not work? You know.
Does that make sense,
Perfect.
Karsten?
That's perfect. Thank you guys. I had trouble with that one, so
Yeah,
thank you.
I searched over and over and over, and I finally just went outside the lesson manual to try and figure it out, and it was pretty easy to find once I started looking at other things. But in the lesson, it's not spelled out very well. There's nowhere in there that says response variable. Like those two words don't go together at all in the lesson.
Yeah.
There's
Right.
variables and there's response, but they're never together. So it was really that was a tricky one.
Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate your help. Thank you.
So because we had the key provided for the part one, we probably really don't need to go over that stuff unless we want to just give ourselves a refresher.
Or we can try to answer the question if we have question in a specific topic, we can review that.
I didn't really have any questions. It's just committing some stuff to memory is all.
Yeah.
CDTM or MT rather.
Yep. Okay.
The hardest one for me to remember was the different types of sampling.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to take me a while to try and commit. Fortunately, it looks like all of our tests, our weekly quizzes are all open notes, so that'll help a lot.
Yep.
Right.
I think when I think about cluster, I think about the environmental example. And I think about like, okay, well, I don't need to do the whole environment. I can just cluster it,
Do
right?
a group.
Group.
Do a group, but then you're doing everybody within that group.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, this will be fun to I'm looking forward to this class. I have been since last semester actually, but we'll
Oh, really? I've been not looking forward to it
Yeah.
because everything I've heard is that it's a tough class. You know, that's why I guess.
Yeah. I think it
But
will be challenging.
along with that clustering, you know, the stratified sampling is somewhat similar. But that because you're only taking you're doing the groups things, but you're only taking random samples from each group instead of the results from everybody or testing
Yeah.
everybody, however you want to say it.
yeah, like which one do you think is the most applicable? You know, like which one can you apply like if I was to go out and do research, which study method or sampling method do you think would be the most common one? Or
The
would it,
random one.
That's going to be depend on some variables like how
yeah,
big is the population, for example,
Yeah.
But
that you're looking.
for people who doesn't have
exactly.
any knowledge about it, I think is the simple random sample. I think, well, I say I'm marketer, so we have so much samples of like for subjects or grades or study. So I think this is like more specific. So, but for a random people, I think this is the random sample. I think we can apply it for the real life.
Yeah.
And if you're just a normal Joe out in the public, you may not even need any of that kind of stuff. What's the one I'm looking for? Hang on, so I'll find it.
So like every fifth person or whatever.
No, no,
Oh, that
it's
is
not. It's the one that's not a very good mean.
Convenience.
Yes, convenience
Oh
sample.
yeah.
Just think convenience store, you know?
Right. So for the normal everyday Joe, I mean, that's going to be sufficient usually. But if you're going to talk to people about COVID vaccination or something, then you need to be a little, take one of these other more reliable samplings methods.
Okay.
So,
Thank you guys.
yeah.
No problem.
So do we want to go then on to the 2 questions on part 2?
Oh man, Eunice, that's great. Now I can read it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read it?
Sure.
Researchers will like to determine if reviewing material consistently within an hour affects class helps students perform better on exams than if a student wait to review material the day before the exam. To answer this question, the researchers are trying to determine if an observational study or an experiment will be more appropriate. They are discussing who the population will be and how they will determine which sampling method will be representing the population. Which of the five steps of the statistical process are the researchers currently applying?
Design.
So yeah, I was thinking that.
That's what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would have to be because the second step is to collect the data.
Yeah.
You can't collect the data if you don't know how you're going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
So I guess that when we were talking about which sampling method, that would be done in the design portion, right, of the study? Is
Yeah.
that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Decide on the treatment there, what the treatment's going to be.
I'll read the second one.
All right.
A researcher has collected the results of a survey where the participants were asked how many hours of TV they watched each day. The researcher tallies the frequencies for each category and computes mean number of hours watched. She then creates a histogram to help illustrate the overall distribution. Which of the 5 steps of the statistical process did the researcher apply?
Collecting.
Right, data.
Yeah, I think describe
I think so.
is she's creating a histogram which describes the data.
Yes.
Uh,
Okay.
You want me to read 3?
Sure.
Mumbai, India is a quickly growing city of importance in its own country as well as the global economy. A market research firm has been asked by a prominent fast food restaurant to help determine if the citizens of Mumbai would support this fast food business. From a list of all registered taxpayers, 3,000 names are randomly selected. Each individual on the list is mailed a brief questionnaire. The researchers receive 1,049 responses. The population is, I think the population is the 3,000, isn't it?
yeah, I think so.
I think that's the sample.
That's the
Well,
sample.
the
You're right.
sample, the sample is the 1,049. And the 3,000 is the population. That's because the population is the total everybody. And the sample is those who are being used to make some determination.
So,
Okay.
Yeah,
so I see that both
How-
ways because I can see all of the population all registered taxpayers as the population, but they're only selecting 3,000 to solicit a response from. I almost think the 1049 responses are irrelevant in terms of the population. That's just how many respondents.
Well, I guess I got it that there were 3,000 in the population. Oh, there's 3,000 names that are randomly collected. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and what the reason I think that is, I remember in one of the lesson portions they talked about presidential election, and they would
Yeah.
randomly select X amount of people, but the population were all registered voters.
Let me see if I can find that. Do you remember where?
Was it in the selecting methods?
I think that was in a video.
Oh, maybe it was in a video.
Do a control F. Oh, there you go. Population right there.
Oh, sorry. Where?
Right there. What is the population? Total collection of all individuals under consideration.
Okay.
And so what was the question again on that quiz, Eunice?
I'm sorry. Can you see it?
Population is, okay, so
A list of all registered taxpayers.
Yes.
I think Eric is correct there, yes.
Okay.
So I can read this. Mumbai, India is a quickly growing city of importance in its own country as well as the global economy. A marketing research firm has been asked by a prominent fast food restaurant to help determine if the citizens of Mumbai will support this fast food business. From a list of all registered payers, 3,000 names are randomly selected. Each individual on the list is mailed and brief questionnaire. The researchers received 1,049 responses as the sample is, I think,
The sample would be the 1049. That's how many responses they received, right?
Because
But
they can't, but they can't use the 3,000 because we don't know anything about them. We don't know their opinion.
I think it was 3 because from the list of all registered taxes, 3,000 names are randomly selected. So that is
They are selected.
Uh-huh.
but can they be used? I mean,
No, they
Yeah.
can't. Not
Only
well. If you subtract only the 1,049 would be the sample,
because
right?
they are the only ones
Who answered?
participating.
Yeah.
And it's not like the rest of the 3,000 are being used as a control group or anything. They're just not participating at all.
yeah.
You can't draw any inference from them, you know. So they wouldn't be who you sampled.
So can be determined.
No,
Um
I think it's the 1049.
1049.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. If I have to get used to that terminology, because the way the terminology is, the sample size to me is the 3,000, but that's not even an option as an answer, so we know that can't be it. But so I gotta, that's gonna be hard for me to remember, because sample to me is, who did we send this to? So, but I think
Yeah.
I think that
But the sample by that definition really is a group.
yeah, you're right. But I think that 1,049 is the right response.
Due to. Okay, she'll go down to 5. I'll read that one if you'd like.
Sure.
Studies have shown that retention of classroom materials can drop as low as 58% within 15 minutes of class. Yeah, I can believe that. And within 44% after the first hour after class. If there is no review of the material, this forgetting curve continues, so that within 6 days, only 25% is remembered. How can a student conquer this forgetting curve? Researchers claim that constant review is important. Suppose your teacher wanted to test this and invited you to participate in a study in which you would be randomly assigned to use one of 2 groups. Group 1 would be, they would be asked to review for 10 minutes at 3 specific times, 15 minutes after the class, 1 hour after the class, and 2 days after the class. That's to do reviews. Group 2 would not be asked to review the materials at all. Use the above information for all parts of the, I guess, from the following questions. So group 2 is called the
I think
Control.
control. Yes.
control group. Yeah.
Okay.
Before participating in the study, your teacher gives you a short 10-question quiz on the material. Your score out of 10 is recorded. What type of the data is your teacher collecting?
Are we going to do number 6?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we already finished with the other one, right?
Oh, is that not what you just read? Number 6?
Oh, she didn't read that one. She skipped ahead to 7. Let's go ahead and go back to 6, Eunice. Okay, if you want to read that one.
Yeah, I read the
Yeah,
seven.
that's what she read.
Oh, really? I thought she.
She scrolled
Okay,
down after it, but
I would say quantitative,
yeah, I would too.
because how I remember that is quantitate. It seems like you're doing some math.
Yeah.
Math related. Yes, I agree.
So those answers can be averaged, right?
Yeah, they can be averaged or even creating a percentage,
Yeah.
Right.
calculating a percent. And I think more like demographics is more category, and that's more like counting.
Yeah. I can pull up the lesson if you want. I think it's not in here.
You're you're a lot more adept with technology than I am, Eunice.
Well, as a VOU student, we have to we have to learn how to do this. So this is a quantitative variable and categorical variable.
Yeah, so it's measurable, right? So
Right.
quantitative is correct.
Okay. Who wants to do 7?
I'll read that. Oh,
Go ahead, Carson.
after the 6th day, your teacher asks if you feel confident that you have retained at least 50% of the material. He records your response yes and no. Not sure. What type of data is your teacher collecting?
Theory.
That's got to be categorical.
I will say that is categorical too.
All right, which of the following would be considered an experimental design? Telephone poll asking people about whether or not they vaccinate their children, administering the tuberculosis vaccine to one group and giving a placebo to another, a census, or a mailed survey asking people whether or not they received the tuberculosis vaccine.
Either the second or third. Is a census a type of experimental design, or is it just
No, because there's not a control group. Everybody gets the same
That's right.
thing.
That's right.
So
Definitely.
yeah, it's got to be the administering.
How I remember that one is, I think, observe, and I think all I'm doing is watching. I'm not doing anything but watching, So
Yeah.
that's how and then experiment, you have the treatment group and the control group,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
so that's how I remember that one.
Right.
Actually, they gave us an example with a tuberculosis vaccination, remember?
Yeah.
Your memory is better than mine, Eunice.
He's younger than us.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm better looking too.
So, Kristen, you have to show yourself. Let's see if you are all or younger than us.
I'm 32.
Oh,
So-
you're
but I-
younger than 32?
Yes.
I'm 34, so he's younger than us. See?
I'm probably the oldest in the group. I don't know, Derek. I'm 66.
All right, I'm 51, so
Yeah, I figured you were quite a bit younger than me.
yeah.
But if you guys are lucky enough, you'll get to my age someday. Well,
Well, I'm glad
Alright.
I get to learn from you guys. So
Yeah.
I'm excited.
trust me, this is a learning thing is a reciprocal thing here. Trust me. Okay, in a study to determine the average wage of working people in Mumbai, which of the following would be the best sample? The average wage. Every 10th worker that you meet as you travel the streets of Mumbai, all of the workers on one working district of Mumbai. I don't know if that'd be practical. I don't know, have no idea what the population, for example, of Mumbai, what it is, and how you would get the records of all of the everybody in the
Yeah.
district. How many randomly selected, many randomly selected workers in each of several districts of Mumbai were all female workers. And this was due to the
I gotta
average
say
wage
this third one.
Yes.
of,
Many randomly selected workers in each.
Like I think it's got to be either the first or the third, but the first seems a little flawed.
why is that?
Because every 10th worker you meet as you travel the streets, you're not dipping into each working district or working area. You're just kind of haphazardly getting workers.
I agree. Yeah.
Whereas
So
the
many-
third
many
one,
random workers.
you're going into every working district, so you're really getting a better sampling, I think.
Well, you're not going to an area. Well, it is. I guess
Yeah.
in each.
Well,
you're right.
several, I guess several, which is
Several.
better than just one. Like the second one, all the workers in one working district wouldn't to me would not be a good way to determine the average for the city. So I think my answer is 3.
I agree.
I'm on the same page.
Okay.
I'll take this one. You want to become the next Jonas Salk and produce a vaccine that will help cure children of respiratory something virus. Oh, RSV. You test the vaccine and compare it to a placebo and randomly choose one group of children to take the vaccine and one group to take the placebo. What or who are the experimental units or subjects? The children, right?
This was a tricky one on that video too, because they said be the parents, but the way this is worded, I think it's a little different. The experimental units is the children, but the parents make the decisions.
Or is the experimental unit the children are the the children are the subjects. Like they put that word units in there, I think, to distract us, to get us to think, oh, units must be like
Units
vaccine.
or subjects are the same.
What's the same?
Units and
Yeah,
subjects are the same.
yeah. I would go with children.
I normally would too, but for that one video, I think it was worded a little different than this question though.
It was.
However it was worded, it was the parents, not the children. So man, it can be tricky.
Yeah, well, yeah, and they kind of their reasoning, the reason they said that, if I remember right, is the children don't really have a choice. It's the parents that are deciding whether or not they're going to allow their child to be subject to it. But it's the children that are actually getting the vaccine or the placebo.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I'd stick with children.
How many questions are there in this quiz, Eunice?
So-
3 more.
15?
4 more. 13.
13, okay.
11.
Okay.
Must be your
y-
turn, Eunice.
Who's got this?
I'll do it. You want to become the next Jonas Salk and produce a vaccine that will help cure children of RSV. You test the vaccine and compare it to a placebo and randomly choose a group of one group of children to take the vaccine and one group to take the placebo. What are the treatments?
The last one.
Yeah, it's got to be vaccine or placebo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
This is already taken and administrator treatments. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's vaccine and placebo.
Because the number of incidences of the virus is more of the data, not the
Mhm.
treatment.
And the treatment.
The treatment is actually a vaccine or placebo in the control group.
Right. In 1992, the U.S. government supported a study that was run for 15 years where 4,608 low-income families were given a chance to move to less impoverished areas. They distributed vouchers and provided various support systems. The researchers wanted to determine if getting people out of their poor neighborhoods would reduce the poverty level of U.S. citizens. The low-income families were randomly assigned to one of the following 3 groups. The MTO Low Poverty Voucher Group, which received Section 8 certificates or vouchers usable only in low poverty areas with less than 10% of the population below the poverty line in 1990, along with counseling and assistance in finding private unit to lease. Or number 2 is was the traditional voucher group, which received regular Section 8 certificates or vouchers geographically unrestricted, and ordinarily briefings and assistance from the PHAs, the local public housing authority. So what's the difference between those two? The first group was more within just poverty areas, and the number two was any place throughout the community, right?
Yeah.
And the third group, the control group, which received no certificates but remained eligible for public or project-based housing and other social programs to which families could otherwise have been entitled. So they did not receive even the traditional voucher then. Okay.
Hmm.
The study was,
Experiment.
let's see, so
Yeah. It would have to be because I had a control group.
that's true. They had a control group. Okay.
Matching the following, collect data. This is the second one.
Collect data.
Step 2.
Step 2, yeah.
Take action is the fifth one. The design study is the first one.
Wait, slow down a sec.
I'm sorry.
So the first one was the collect data was the
Step
step
2.
what? Step 2.
Collect data is step 2. Take action. Step 5.
Okay.
Design and study. Step 1. Describe the data. Step 3.
That's right.
And make inferences. Step 4.
That sounds right to me.
Are you ready?
The
Or do you want to review?
DCDMT, right?
13 out of 13.
Oh, so we got all of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, is there a quiz that goes with lesson 3?
Yes.
So, okay, hold on. I think we have to split the record.
I agree. I think because we have to post each recording
So
to,
who is recording? Who is recording the session?
I am. So you want me to stop it?
Yes, but you have to download. I don't know how that works with